say, small reminder, white cubic houses, they are white because in the 1930s the dictator called Ioannis Metaxas decided that they should all be uniform, but they're cubic because the rain doesn't fall a lot here, and so they do not need an inclined roof, and they would use the flat roof to dry their goods. Because unlike many of the islands, here we have an agricultural production. You do notice maybe the olive trees all around us. They are harvested. And we also have some farming, yes, and we also do have some not elevation, excuse me, that's lifting. Yeah, we also have some animals here, such as goats and pigs and some few cows. And so the shape of the island of Paros is like a small circle, maybe a circle going towards a teardrop. And that's enough, I think, about the geography and the numbers. So the place here is actually part of a complex of the islands. I mean, you have Paros here, quite big, very close to Naxos, which is even bigger. Naxos is the first biggest islands of the Cyclades. And then you have some small islands. As you see the map on the left side of Paros, you have the big one called Antiparos, very nice, luxurious for the holidays, and not only, and with wild beauty. But also, you do have some small islands all around it. And in one of those small islands, the first ever sculpture of the Greek civilization was discovered. Well, this one does look very juicy. It has no head, and it's, how can I say it? Its female parts are like very pronounced. So yeah, they do call her the fat lady of Saliagos. And actually these pronounced parts were very important because in the beginning here, in the prehistorical times, we were venerating goddesses, not gods. And the goddesses were representing fertility, and so the parts that reminded us of this fertility had to be pronounced. And she was made out of marble. Quite important, because soon we will pass by the big quarry, which is what made Paros so important in the ancient times, and even later. So, the chubby woman of Saliagos. And then will come the Cycladic times, where the Cyclades civilization will flourish. And they would make these statues that are very abstract with the geometrical noses, such as this. They have here to the left, they have a workshop where they make copies of the Cycladic sculptures. In the village of Marathi here. To your right you see a typical Cycladic church with a red dome. Well, it's not a dome, excuse me, it's an inclined roof. It's a semi-cylinder roof. And a bit of the bougainvillea that is a nice element in all of our islands of the Cyclades. Okay, and so, Cycladic civilization. The statues are a prominent element. And then we will come to the historical times, where Paros, having all of this marble, and let me tell you, the marble of Paros is actually very special. It is the material from which masterpieces of the ancient times were made, such as Hermes of, excuse me, that's not working right now, Hermes of whom? Of Praxiteles, yeah, who can be found in Olympia. I do not know if this is part of the destinations, but the sculpture not only him, also the sculptures on the Parthenon were made of marble, which came from here. The sculptors loved it because it was translucent, it was soft and easy to use. And this is what made Paros rich. This rich, and this here is the quarry. You saw it before me, you're good. Yeah, so if you see like the vertical cuts on the rock, that was the ancient quarry here, which made Paros so rich that it would actually, as part of, it was part of the Delian alliance, the alliance against the Persians, and as part of this alliance he would pay twice as much as the next rich islands, which were Naxos and Milos. And this is also why in the Hellenistic times the population of the island, okay, you remember that now it's 14,000, right? Had become 150,000.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I am sure that even maybe half of them were the slaves who were here for the quarries. But eventually the Romans would come and destroy it completely. I mean, they would take all the marble, they would take all the statues they would find, and they would cut all of the trees to make their fleet. So they left the small land destitute. And then actually there's a story, maybe it's a legend, maybe it's not, who knows. Well, when Saint Helen, the mother of Constantine, the emperor who changed the Roman Empire's religion to Christianism and not to paganism, well, she was going to the Holy Lands for a pilgrimage. So she was passing from Western Europe going towards Jerusalem, and there was, well, as she was passing from around here, there was very bad weather. It was disastrous. So she ended up in the island of Paros and prayed for the weather to stop, this bad weather specifically. And when it did, she and her son made the chapel. And then came the next emperor, Justinian, or Justin, who would make a big chapel, which is the last one we're visiting, the big church of Our Lady of the 100 Gates. At the time when the island was nothing, really. I mean, it was pillaged, it was destroyed. And it would take many years for the island to be rebuilt. So, in the, it would be part of the Byzantine Empire eventually. It was already part of the Byzantine Empire without playing like a very specifically important role, even though it had like a masterpiece inside made in the 5th century by one of the architects of the Hagia Sophia, Saint Sophia of Istanbul. And I am sure that now to your left you notice all of those terrains.